Hey everyone, this is Tap to Pay, a Future of Faith, doing the newsletter recap with Tap and friends. At Future of Faith, we curate a twice monthly newsletter spotlighting the people, practices, and places shaping what's next for faith. Each issue invites you listening to the field through real stories on the ground, listening to each other through thoughtful conversations, and listening to the research that helps us understand where faith is headed. We celebrate a featured artist of the year and share dream jobs and opportunities you won't want to miss. Subscribe today at futureoffaith.org and join a growing community committed to listening well and building the future of faith together. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Newsletter Recap with Tap and friends. I'm joined by our friend Lauren again. Woo! Nice to have you back, Lauren. It's been a minute.
Yes, I am so happy to be back, and we can just recap with Tap and your best.
So fun. So if you guys don't know about Newsletter Recap with Tab, we just recap the previous newsletter that recently came out, which was a newsletter issue 57. We are zooming through these newsletters. We will be at 100 soon. Probably next year, but soon.
Yeah, that is soon.
But the rundown that we do here on Newsletter Recap is that we do all things listening in our issues, listen to the field, listen to each other, and listen to the research with some bonus articles and dream jobs and opportunities as always. So let's just get straight into it. First thing that we have is Listen to the Field, which is the Parish Collective, which is helping churches reimagine faith, community, and belonging by rooting church life deeply in neighborhoods and relationships. What's really cool about Parish Collective is that they see not the church as the building, but really communities within the neighborhood and ministries in the neighborhood. So we have things like parking lots, which that could be a parish, or they could have art studios that are a parish, or having porch gatherings that are happening. So it's really, really cool work that they're doing where they're taking the church outside of the church. The church is the people. That's really what they're defining it as. So it's really cool that they're having people just be rooted and connected in the community and just having that consistent work to build humility and curiosity with each other. We really like the fact that they're listening deeply to each other. They have a bunch of local stories on their website if you guys want to check that out. It's really, really cool. And it's all just about bringing people together and cultivating that type of leadership within the communities that they serve. If you guys look on the website, we have a couple of places that they have with Oceanside, California, Davenport, Indiana. There's Olympia, Washington, Chicago. It's all over nationally. So really, really cool stuff with Parish Collective. What do you think about this, Lauren? What was cool about this to you?
I really think the Parish Collective is such a great place to just for people to connect, because the church, the institution itself can just really seem separate from what the community and neighborhoods are like. So just knowing that there is an organization that's going out there where it's showing that the church isn't necessarily the building, but it's being a part of that neighborhood and community where they can grow in faith and discipleship together. So I think this is a really cool organization that people should go ahead and check out. And I believe there's like multiple initiatives to choose from. They're all doing different sorts of formats, so everyone should go and take a look at that.
Yes, super cool stuff. And so let's go on to our next thing. The Youth Pulse 2026 report. It was an insight for the next generation for a changing world. The World Economic Forum recently had a report that was giving a snapshot of what young people around the world are carrying right now and what they hope for next. Lauren, could you talk about what you thought about the report and what was cool about it to you?
I just have to say, looking at these findings, it definitely didn't surprise me as a young person myself at 26 years old, where our generation has been through so much chaos in the last, I don't know, 20 years or so. We have like 9/11 when we were kids, that has impacted us.
Mm-hmm.
COVID-19, the economic crisis, Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement, the Trump administration, and just the internet in general that puts us in a place where like we are actively seeing moments in time where there is like a global crisis going
Mm-hmm.
on at our hands. So like it's not a surprise to me that our generation wants to create change and wants to create reform of some sort, even if it has to do with financial or social equality, just accountability in general from either our government or just ourselves, and just wanting to have more opportunities for the future for us. So, wanting more innovation and change in our generation really doesn't surprise me in the least. Tap, do you kind of agree with me on that?
Oh my gosh, 100%. I mean, it's so interesting being a young person looking at how fast the world is changing because, I mean, we talked to our grandparents about how all the things that they went through and how much was going on. And even with our parents, 2008, when it happened with the economy crash, it's really, really jarring to say the least that we're experiencing so much happening in our lifetime. And I bet when we're older, we're going to look back and be like, whoa, man, remember back then? But
Yeah.
it is, yeah, to be a young person and having to adapt so quickly into an ever changing world is really, really interesting. And even looking at the insights that were in the report, I mean, like, they have a technological outlook that talks about how young people are aware of the risk of AI and how 2/3 of people believe that AI will reduce entry job opportunities, which I completely agree with. It is so like I obviously grew up in a time, and I'm sure that you did too, where we had computer class. Like we were able to adapt to just working with computers so quickly. I had my first iPhone when I was probably like 10, and just being in that type of space where technology, we're so reliant on it and it's so prevalent, but it works so much faster than humans. It's scary, when someone is trying to come into the workforce and people are like, well, I don't need you, I can have a computer. So I definitely agree with the fact that, AI and the use of it is just, it has its risks, but it also has its rewards too. A lot of youth are early adopters of AI, and they could see that how it could be a thing to enhance them and to help them out. So that was really, really interesting to me. And even, climate change and how they were thinking about like the threats of the world and the concerns that were within that political. It's really, really interesting. And then I hope and pray that it'll get better, when it comes to this next generation and how we'll try to change from there. But yeah, super, super cool insights. If you guys want to check that out, that's the World Economic Forum Youth Pulse 2026 report. Let's go into our next thing. In terms of, listening, we have an article actually about formational listening for youth that was written by a couple of the people that we know here at Future of Faith. We got Josh, our practitioners, Chris, Katura, Kedron, and our friend of Future of Faith, Kari Foster, that wrote this super cool article about, the power of listening and all of their different ministries. Lauren, what did you think about this?
Oh my goodness, I love these sorts of articles on how
Mm-hmm.
sacred listening tools can be used just to create relationships with youth and just being able to engage. I'm really glad to see that Chris, Katura, and Kedron were highlighted in this. I actually did last summer. I went to the Boston's youth ministry to do observations while they're using a sacred listening tool. And they actually took us on a tour and explained how
Oh,
they did the circle and how they would listen and interact with their kids. And actually being
that is
able
so
to
cool.
observe those relationships with their youth was like one of the most amazing things like I've ever seen. So very much huge shout out to the Bostons. Love you both. Hope you guys are still having a wonderful time using those sacred listening tools.
Yes, we love the Bostons, and we also love Chris. Like just their whole entire format of how they gather before every lesson. They have a person share a worry, a wish, and a welcome, and what they're carrying, and just being so intentional with that in the youth ministry. It's so important, and it's so important to see, the temperature of how people are feeling before they come into a room. So I'm just so glad that, our ministry practitioners are just out there doing real work. They're doing the sacred listening that we're always talking about and doing research on. So it's really, really cool the work that they're doing, and I highly recommend you guys to check them out. And so now we get to go to our favorite part. Lauren, who have we hired now? Because it just seems as if, we're getting bigger and bigger, and I don't have any more space on the website at this point.
That is so true. We are about to introduce one of our new associate researchers, Bernie, or
Woo!
Bernard, but we call him Bernie. He is an amazing person, and I'm so excited that he is coming in here and willing to work with us. He is one of the coolest people I have ever met, and I'm so excited to have you all be introduced to him.
Yes. So let's welcome in Bernie.
Bernie!
Everyone, we are welcoming Bernie. Woo! Bernie, so happy to have you here on Newsletter Recap and so happy to have you here at Future of Faith. Let the people know who you are and what got you here. What are you doing?
Sure. So, like I said, I'm Bernie. I'm a doctoral candidate in sociology at WVU, and I've been studying religion here for about 6 years now as part of my studies. Really got into it during the pandemic, and it was just a case where it fell into my lap, but was already exploring religion on my own, and it just seemed like a great thing to do. I had a friend tell me about this position and put the application in. Definitely happy to be here. This is so much more exciting than anything I've done as a student, so this is a pleasant change.
Awesome. That is
Yes.
so cool. And outside of research, what do you do? Because I'm always here. I'm the one who like wants to know about people's lives and the fun stuff that happens.
Right. Um, so I'm one of those quieter at home people. I really enjoy reading. I enjoy spending time with family. So whether it's they want to play games or go on a walk or movies, if I'm with family, I'm enjoying it. And then nerdy side coming out here, I do enjoy tabletop role playing games. That's just a fun way to escape. So
Okay, what kind of tabletop role playing are we talking about? Are we talking about D&D or
yeah, D&D and the
ah,
many
yeah.
variations of it.
I've never played. I feel like it's really intimidating, but I think it would be really fun. We
It's
should
gotten a
figure
lot
this out.
better since it first came out. They try to make it more about the storytelling, so more people are able to join.
That's
Yeah, I've
really
gotten into
cool.
Dread. Like, I love
Oh,
Oh.
watching videos on Dread. I think that's so fun, and it's way easier for me to understand because it's Jenga towers.
yep.
Oh. We need to like get together, have like a future of faith like game night or something. That would be
Yes.
really cool. Okay, so Bernie, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions so that people can know more about you. If you guys want to have the full breakdown and a in-depth version of Bernie's question answers, you can check it out on our blog. But the first question I have is, what advice would you give to others who want to build stronger connections within their faith communities?
Sure. So it doesn't have to be a big step at first. I think even those little steps are very important. They're a great place to begin. And the other thing is be open. So it's a case where even if you're not deeply involved, it's little moments like saying hello and meaning it, taking time to listen to someone. Everyone's looking for connection, and it's more important to meet people where they are than to try to argue where someone should be. So again, just those very little steps can make a world of difference in someone's life.
That's really, really important. I mean, honestly, a lot of people are, especially when you're meeting someone for the first time, right? It's so awkward at times. And even just saying, like, a simple hello or just like, you know, trying to have that nice gesture at first, it's kind of weird. It's hard when you're meeting strangers or just meeting somebody for the first time. So having that, small step is like really, really cool. I think that's really important. What do you think, Lauren?
I think that is super duper important.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to do a fun one. Be as in depth as you can. I always. Okay, so would you rather everyone hear your thoughts for one day or have to say everything you think for a week?
Oof, that is a tough one to answer because there's. I think I would say probably say everyone I think for a week.
Oh my
Everything I think.
gosh.
Um, it's not as obvious here, thankfully, but I'm one of those people that already says out loud what I'm thinking as I'm working through my thoughts. So if I'm already doing it, it's less of a challenge. Although, probably have to watch what I say because there's times where, oh no, that's a terrible idea. Let's go to something else. And plus, I suppose if I'm doing this for a week and I'm just out in public, it looks kind of weird when someone's just walking down the street talking to themselves. That might not go over as well.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do. everything you would say everything you think for a week. I don't know if I would do that. I feel like I think a lot of crazy things. I'm not saying that like there's a lot of crazy stuff going up here, but like I think that my first initial thought is always like, "Oh, girl, don't say that out loud. Like, don't do that."
I
That
mean,
is
that's fair, but as opposed to just thinking it and having people know.
that is true. Yeah, having everyone hear it probably would be just as bad. So maybe I did stump you with this one. This is
It was not easy.
well, thank you so much, guys. This has been super, super fun. And I always love having more people on Newsletter Recap with Taps and friends. And you guys are now my new friends. So make sure that you all look at the Dream Jobs and Opportunity section in our newsletter. We're also hiring right now for a digital media associate for our storytelling division in our organization, where you can work with Nikki, who recently was on the Newsletter Recap as well. She's super awesome. Lauren worked for her as well for a long, long time before she all became our beautiful friend. So make sure that you check that out on our LinkedIn or on our blog for the full post. And that is it, everyone. So see you later. Peace out. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Newsletter Recap with Tap and friends. Be sure to subscribe at our newsletter at futureoffaith.org. See you next time.